When I was younger, my mum told me that the Bromford estate was once home to a famous racecourse, and I always wondered what that racecourse was like and what remained of it. Looking at the name of my road, Sprig Croft, immediately you would think spring without the N or a sprig from a branch, while in fact Sprig was the name of a famous racehorse who raced on here on the Bromford racecourse. So I wanted to find out more. Along with my road, there are many roads with reference to a racehorse in its name. As a child, I always wondered why the names of the roads were random and didn't actually believe my mum when she told me about them being named after racecourses and famous horses. This documentary is aimed to explore the history of the Birmingham racecourse, how it came about and what happened to it in the end. My first mission was to find a bit about what the local knowledge was about the racecourse and how much people actually knew about this unseen history of the Bromford.
So what do you know about the Bromford racecourse?
I don't know anything.
That's okay. Do you know anything about any remains of the racecourse, like road names or anything?
No, I don't.
Okay, are you surprised to hear that there was a racecourse here?
No, not surprised. I'd heard there was one here, but apart from that, I don't know anything.
That's okay. Thank you very much anyway.
Alright, thank you.
I don't really know that much. Just that it was a race course a long time ago, and that's basically it.
Okay, so what do you know about the racecourse that used to be in Bromford?
Lived here since February, so I don't know about any race course.
The racecourse on the estate?
Yeah.
I don't know very much, but I do know that there was a pavilion that was burnt down by the suffragettes, which is quite exciting.
Well, I was born in Collingbourne Avenue, which is just beyond where the racecourse is now. We used to use the park at the back of the Comet and the racecourse as part of our parks. We shouldn't have been on the racecourse, but we used to come in as children and we seen wonderful horses down here, right around down here. And I remember my dad saying to me the one time that our cup was on the Bromford racecourse, and according to all the people that knew about it, this is the only racecourse in the country that had a straight mile.
The racecourse was the brainchild of brothers John and Stanley Ford and opened in 1894. They were helped in their endeavour by the Earl of Aylesford. The first race was held on the 14th of June 1895. In May 1914, the grandstand was burnt down by members of the suffragette movement, highlighting the movement's cause of votes for women. Okay, so here I've found a 1916 edition of the map of the Bromford estate. It shows the racecourse and the other areas. It shows that the winning post is by the children's park, the kiddies area on the Bromford estate. The Bromford Bridge, which is now by the Mercedes dealership, is now, well, what was back then a train station. That was the main transport line for the Bromford estate. My house, which is Sprig Croft, was in the grandstands. But this doesn't give me the full picture. I think I need to go and interview some more people, find out what they know.
I know a little bit of history. I know that the fact that before it became a council estate, it was a race course up until the 1960s. I think it'd been a race course for about 60, 70 years.
Throughout the 1920s and 30s, the racecourse became a major attraction, hosting some of the biggest racing meets in the country. During the Second World War, the racecourse was taken over by the military and used as an anti-aircraft station with the aim of defending Birmingham from the might of the German Air Force.
As in the transition from a racecourse to what it is now, I think there was just a need for housing at that time in the 1960s, and you know, around Birmingham a lot of developments happened, and just this part of Birmingham was just seen as a prime spot for housing. You know, the M6 was probably just being built, so it was a prime spot to build, and there was places of work around the neighbourhood, so it just became a place to build housing. It was, and I don't think the racecourse was making a vast amount of money at the time, so it was a prime opportunity to turn it from one thing into the other.
To be honest, well, I do care, but it's not really been a major interest of mine throughout living on the Bromford. Like, I knew my dad did say, each of the roads are named after a racecourse because there was a racecourse here. But other than that, I weren't really that interested in it.
When I came into Bromford, when I first started hanging around, I had my perception. It had a bad reputation, and it was a rough area, and that's kind of the idea that I got when I got here. But then I just assumed it was always like that. But I then found out about the racecourse, and discovered that actually Bromford's history, it's got a rich history, you know, it's got a lot to it, a lot more than just meets the eye. And so knowing what Bromford used to be like kind of changes how I think about it now, I guess.
I would have thought it used to be cool, but now it's not here anymore. It's not cool.
In the 1960s, the Birmingham Corporation bought the racecourse for an amazing £1.25 million. The racecourse was in decline, and with the need of more social housing, the decision was made to close its doors for good. The racecourse was demolished and the Castle Bromwich settlement was extended and the Bromford estate came into being. It was the end of over 70 years of horse racing, the likes of which will never be seen in Birmingham again. HS2 will run straight through the Bromford, in the middle. So where the park is now, that won't be there anymore. The HS2 will go over that. The shops, the flats will be knocked down. The shops will be moved onto the other side of the road. What I've heard is I think it's just a rumour, but there's a possibility that where the shops are now, that'll be the actual depot, a stopping depot for the line. I'm not too sure if that's true or not. It will definitely bring depreciation rates to the Bromford, but if I'm honest, I don't think that will affect me. Not yet.
If there's a station, it could affect us in a good way, because if it's only like 45 minutes to London, you can get a job in London, and that's not a really bad commute, and it could be good for the people on the estate that can get jobs, still live on the estate, but then go work in London because it's only 45 minutes to get there.
I'm kind of split down the middle because it will bring a lot of much needed attention to Bromford, maybe. I kind of get the impression that Bromford is very much a kind of forgotten about area, and doesn't have much going for it, and not a lot of people realise Bromford might even be there, I guess, maybe, and this will bring some attention needed to maybe boost Bromford. But at the same time, it kind of gives away the impression that Bromford's been used as a dumping ground, in the fact that nothing goes on here, so they'll just put a rail system through it, I guess.